Hello everybody, welcome to my crystal tier list video. Before I get started, I just wanted to thank you guys so much for helping this channel get to 10 subscribers. It may not seem like a lot to you, but it means a lot to me. I'm really thankful to everyone who is subscribed to my channel, and anyone who decides to watch these videos, I'm grateful for you as well. So for today's video, I wanted to do something a bit more fun and lighthearted. As you can see here, I've started up a tier list. Basically, how this is going to go is I have these tiers sorted by how often I use them or how often I would like to use them if I haven't had them in my personal collection yet. For a bit of context, I've been collecting crystals for many years. And I also used to work at a store where I was selling crystals, so even ones where I haven't had them in my personal collection, I have handled quite a few of the ones that I haven't owned yet. So these are going to be our 5 tiers. At the bottom, what would be D or F tier, we have I'm just not using it. These are crystals that I'm just not really going to be reaching for probably anytime soon. Then we have sometimes. These are ones that I'm going to use, surprise, surprise, sometimes. Then we have love it. So these are crystals that I do really love to use. They've been super helpful for me. I appreciate them a lot, but maybe I don't use them all the time. Need it. This is something I definitely need in my collection. I would be quite lost without it. And then our final one, which would be our S tier, is in my skin. So what this means is basically if I was able to get crystals like surgically grafted into my skin so that they could always be a part of me, I could always be feeling the benefits of their energy and the support that they give me, I would jump on that. I would get these crystals surgically implanted into my body. That is how good they feel to me. So, of course, quick disclaimer, the reason I set up the tiers this way is because I didn't want to do a standard S to F because I don't like the implication that any of the crystals are bad. This is really just my own personal opinion. You should always choose your crystals based on what resonates the most with you and what you need in the moment, not based on other people's experiences. And yeah, if I were to do this in standard S to F tier, I think everything would be in SAB, and that wouldn't be very interesting. So this is how we're going to do it. And I will be talking, of course, about my personal experiences with these crystals as we go through and sort of explaining why I use them more or less than others. So we're starting off with this piece of Smoky Quartz here. So Smoky Quartz is a really good crystal for witchcraft. It's good at transmuting energy from more negative to positive. It can also help move energy around in different ways. You can use it to kind of direct the flow of energy in your energy work. It's a really good protective stone because it helps clear away negative energies. It's good for grounding. People use it for manifestation as well. It's a good root chakra stone because of how well it helps dispel negativity. Some people say that it's good to help with depression. For me, Smoky Quartz, I don't really use it that much. I'm probably going to put it in sometimes, and here's why. So, Smoky Quartz, you could argue, is one of my most used stones because if you ever look at the corners of how I set up my tarot cloth, you might see that I have a piece of Smoky Quartz in one of the 4 corners. So it is one of the 4 cornerstones that I use on my tarot cloth. And that's very intentional. The stones that I've chosen for that are all ones that I think help create a positive space that promotes truth and clarity and promotes what's in the highest good for everyone involved in whatever reading I may do. So it's great for that. I love having it in my setup, which is why I'm not putting it all the way at the bottom tier. However, I'm just not really drawn to Smoky Quartz. I know in my mind it's a great thing to use. It can be great for spellcrafts, for rituals, and probably just for basic everyday healing as well, but I'm just not drawn to it. In fact, I've recently rehomed quite a few pieces of Smoky Quartz that I had because I'm just not feeling drawn to it. So we're going to put that one firmly in the sometimes tier for me. Next, we have Amazonite, which I am currently wearing around my neck. Amazonite is amazing. It feels amazing. Like, it's one of those stones, there is just few things like it. The power that I feel when I touch a piece of Amazonite. My sense of like psychic touch is very strong, so that's why I resonate so much with crystals, because I can really feel their energy as they make contact with my skin. And Amazonite is so powerful. It blows me away every time I touch it. If it was a little bit more affordable, I would have way more of it. I'll say that much. It's always something that I think about when I'm reaching for stones. You know, I kind of stick my hand in a little pile of stones I have, and I pull out the Amazonite and I go, oh, of course, because when do I not need Amazonite, right? So, brief overview of what it does. It's really good stone for sort of both the throat and the heart chakra. So it can help link those two chakras really well, helps facilitate the flow between them. It's a really good truth stone, communication stone. It's all about, connecting to your truth and communicating it. It'll help you with empowerment, integrity, courage. Some people also call it the hope stone. So it can help you with optimism. And it also can be used to help balance masculine and feminine energies, which is something that is a really strong part of my practice personally. Apparently, it also helps with dealing with EMF and the negative consequences that has on your aura when you're overexposed to it. Helps with self-expression, and it can help with conflict, both internally, conflict within yourself, and it can also help aid in conflict with others by allowing you to be empowered in your truth, but also allowing you to be open-minded to the needs and opinions of others. So, absolutely phenomenal stone. I'm tempted to put it right at the top tier. I did a little bit of research on all these stones before I started recording just to brush up. And the more I read about it, the more I realized I do need a lot more of this in my life. So it's kind of between these two tiers for me. For now, I'm going to put it in the need it tier because I definitely need it. I certainly need more of it. And I would like to use it more often than I do right now. Next, we have Sodalite, and I love Sodalite. Sodalite is probably one of the first stones that I really became familiar with, especially stones that are not, like the first five that come off the top of your head when you think about crystals, like amethyst, topaz, jade, sapphire, ruby. Like, not one of those ones that everyone can name if asked to name 10 crystals. So a little bit more obscure, but not really that obscure, I don't think. It's an amazing throat chakra stone. My experience with Sodalite is just amazing. Like, it's always good. I have a pendulum made of Sodalite, and it's quite interesting, actually, the way that it moves. So because Sodalite is such a stone of truth, it's also a stone of like logic and rational intelligence. So it's really valuing objective facts, I find that when I use my pendulum with this, it tends to move in very strange ways sometimes. And I think the reason for that is because it's trying so hard to be as honest as possible with me that it's looking at all the nuances of the situation and saying, well, I can't quite say yes or no to this. The answer is more complicated. So it kind of pushes me to think a little bit more beyond the boundaries of whatever system I have in place for understanding the way that my pendulum moves, which is great. It really helps me to like explore other possibilities. So it's an amazing throat and communication stone. It helps to empower you. It'll help you with self-awareness, which leads into self-acceptance, which leads into boosting self-esteem. So all about knowing yourself, trusting yourself, loving yourself, knowing what is true and real to you and valuing that. It's an amazing stone for public speaking, and it'll help you stay calm in situations such as public speaking or having difficult conversations, and it helps encourage connection and communication between people. I'm going to put this sort of between these two green tiers here, the need it and the love it, because I don't use it as often as I could, despite how much I love it. So we're going to put it here for now. I might move some of these as time goes on, but for now we're going to put it in love it, because at the end of the day, I think if Sodalite didn't exist, I might be able to just use Amazonite instead. I don't know. For the next one, I'm not 100% sure what this crystal is. I looked up a few different green ones. To me, this one most closely resembles Unakite, but just pieces of Unakite that happen to not have that distinctive pink on them, which some of them don't. So I'm going to go with calling this Unakite. So Unakite, I have some experience with. I have used it specifically for my plants. Unakite is associated with nature and healing. It helps with growth. And I specifically saw it recommended for use in plants. So what I did was I put some of it sort of in the dirt close to the plant inside of its planter. And it did not save the life of my dying plants, but I think that it did help give them a lot more longevity. And I believe that it made them more happy in their last few months of life. Outside of that, I can't say that I've used it as much as I have any other heart chakra stones. There are a lot of different heart chakra focused stones out there, so there's a lot of competition. I do think this is a really amazing crystal. I think it probably has a lot of potential that I haven't tapped into, just in favor of using other ones I'm more familiar with. Unakite helps with emotional balance and grounding. It is a heart chakra stone, of course, so it helps purge toxicity by clearing out energy blockages and helps you build new, healthier habits. It's a stone associated with fertility and growth, like I said earlier, so it's good for, mothers or gardeners, anything like that. It also helps with self-love, and it fosters feelings of gratitude, empathy, and compassion. I'm going to put this one in sometimes. I even bump it down to not using it because I basically used it for my plants and then took it out of the planter and have hardly used it since. Although I do like its energy, I can't say it's really one that I use at this point in my life. Now, Carnelian, on the other hand, oh my god. in my skin immediately. Like, turn me into a statue of Carnelian and I will be a happier and healthier man. Carnelian, I am obsessed with Carnelian. I cannot stop buying more pieces of it. Normally, I want to just collect one small tumblestone of every crystal that I like, because most of the time when I'm using crystals, I'm carrying them on my person. And if I'm really working with them and I really need the energy, I will hold them in the palm of my hand for a while and focus on the benefit that it gives me. So normally I just have like one or two, but I cannot stop buying pieces of Carnelian. I don't know. I will use them so much that they will get worn out and I have to cycle between them. So there's actually a justification for it. I have a nice big heart-shaped piece of it. I love Carnelian. Cannot thank it enough for what it's done for me. For those who aren't familiar with Carnelian, it is basically the energy stone. It is like the love and light and energy and power of the sun in a stone. Although it's not sunstone, ironically. Sunstone is quite similar in its properties, but Carnelian is it for me. It is the thing. It is like the sacral chakra stone. It'll help you with physical energy. So if you're like trying to get off of like a caffeine addiction, maybe get yourself some of these stones. Like, please, you will be so much better off for it. It helps people a lot. It helps a lot for people who have like depression or chronic fatigue. It's energizing, like physically, emotionally, mentally, but especially physically. It helps with motivation. It gives you confidence. It gives you drive. It can help a bit with creativity, of course, being that nice bright orange sacral chakra energy. It can help with enhancing like sexuality and sexual confidence and any sort of reproductive issues. It'll help with that. And happiness and self-esteem, it is sunlight in a bottle, but not a bottle because it's a rock. It is sunlight in a rock. You hold the power of the sun in your hands. I love Carnelian. I cannot possibly get enough of it. In fact, I'm going to get up and grab a piece of Carnelian right now because I need to hold it now. Hold on one second. Oh yeah, that is much better. Absolutely need that. Okay. Our next one is going to be Howlite. So Howlite is a really, really, really useful stone. It's not one that I grab very often, but when I do go for it, it's definitely one that is like no question about it. I'm going to be reaching for Howlite right now. So Howlite is a lot more of a mental stone. I'd say it's really good for students. I also find it really helpful for productivity just in like day to day life or getting work done. Basically, what it does is it helps clear your mind. So it helps create more space in your mind. It calms down any like overthinking or like excessive anxiety or like excessive emotional energy. It'll just help clear your mind of that clutter and make more room in your mind for, let's say, like learning or memory retention, concentration, focusing on a task, focusing on absorbing knowledge. It can help you absorb and retain knowledge better. It's a really good study stone, like I said, good for students. I find that it can help with organization. If I'm ever at a point in my life where I'm like, I have two choices, either work my ass off until I burn out or fall behind in some terrible sort of way, I will grab Howlite and it will help me just get through the day. And all of these tasks that were once overwhelming and at risk of putting me at burnout are suddenly a lot more manageable. Like I can just think better. So it helps you with completing, or not completing necessarily, but it helps you move towards your ambitions and goals. It's also said to help a lot with insomnia, which I personally have not tried, but I'm going to give that a try pretty soon and see how that works for me. It makes you calm and level headed in a way that really promotes patience. It also promotes awareness. Once again, clearing up that extra space in your brain is going to make you more aware of yourself and your environment, which is always helpful. It also helps with relief from excessive self criticism and relief from stress. So I'm going to put this one in the love it tier right now. I think it looks really good next to the Sodalite here. I think that feels right. I've had this in jewelry as well. Specifically, I actually have one that alternates beads of Howlite and Tiger's Eye, and I find those two work really, really well together for dealing with like stressful workloads that I have to get through and getting through those with confidence without being totally overburdened by it all. Next up, we have Rhodonite. So, Rhodonite is a really interesting stone. It's another heart chakra stone, of course. Personally, I have used this one a lot more, I'd say, in years past than I have anywhere close to the present. It's an amazing stone for working through emotional trauma, especially like relationship type trauma, abuse, and stuff like that. Another interesting thing about it is that it's known to help with feelings of shock that come with trauma, which is probably why I used it more in the past. I feel like I got a lot more use out of this stone, or I was drawn to it a lot more when I was more actively involved in traumatic situations in my life. Now that that's not happening as much for me anymore, I'm just not as drawn to this as I am to other stones. But when I do use it, it is really amazing for what it does. I never regret grabbing it and carrying it for the day. It also comes in some really fascinating patterning sometimes. The way that the black moves across that pink can be really enchanting sometimes if you find a really nice piece. So, Rhodonite helps to develop self love and compassion. It helps you access what talents and gifts you have and helps you learn how to appreciate them. It's also a stone that is very oriented towards service. So, it'll really help bring out the parts of you that can be used to service others, and it'll also help foster that part of you that wants to help others. So it's a stone that promotes self-healing and also promotes like feelings of community and togetherness in the way that is going to help you help yourself. And then when you've helped yourself, it's going to help you help others, which is beautiful. It really helps to overcome fear. It helps with forgiveness, valuing others as well as yourself. Helps with promoting generosity and compassion. And it's also said to help with balancing yin and yang, which is something I value quite a lot. I'm going to put this one in the sometimes tier for myself because although I value it a lot and what it does, and I do suggest this stone to other people a lot, it's just not something that I would reach for at this point in my life over other heart chakra crystals that call to me more often. Kambaba Jasper. So this one I actually had to like fully dive into researching because I don't know much about this one. It looks cool, but I guess it's never really called to me. I can't even really bring to mind exactly what it feels like when I hold it, which is crazy because I used to get paid to hold crystals all day. So, I don't know, it's been a little bit forgettable for me. Obviously, it's going straight in the not using it tier. I don't own any Kambaba Jasper, as far as I'm aware. I've never really used it. So, it's said to help with sleep and helps to calm by stabilizing the aura and providing emotional balance. It is a tranquility stone. Apparently, it's really well known for helping to mend a broken heart. I suppose that I just have other crystals in my life that do all these things for me. I have other crystals that help promote peace and tranquility, other crystals that help to heal a broken heart, and this one just doesn't really speak to me. Maybe I just don't like using jasper stones as a emotional healer. I don't know, but I don't use it. And I actually found it kind of boring to read about actually, which is saying something. So I'm just really not drawn to it at all. Really just bottom of the not using it tier. Next we have Tiger's Eye. Tiger's Eye is amazing. Definitely going somewhere near the top of our list here. Tiger's Eye is kind of like, I'd say, one of the main solar plexus chakras. There are different varieties of it that are more attuned to different chakras. So there's blue tiger's eye, red tiger's eye, there's the classic gold tiger's eye. And there's also tiger's iron, which has more like iron inclusions in it. I really love tiger's iron. Personally, I am anemic, so the tiger's iron really speaks to me a lot more than the tiger's eye just on its own. So, Tiger's Eye is really good at providing confidence and empowerment. It gives you a lot of inner strength. It promotes your willpower. So, it really helps you go after your goals and believe in them and just like get yourself out there. I would consider this another one that would help with public speaking, although it's not a throat chakra stone. I think that the way in which it it makes me feel so good about myself as soon as I touch it. I feel so self-assured. It energizes me in a way kind of similar to Carnelian. Like, usually I only pick one or the other if I'm choosing between Carnelian or Tiger's Eye because both of them really uplift me and help me go about my day the way that I need to get things done with, confidence and not overthinking it and feeling good about the results. It also helps with the blood. It helps promote resilience. It's considered a lucky stone by many. And it just really helps you just let go of your anxieties and fears like they weren't really there to begin with. I'm a little torn on where to put this, but since I'm not certain I want it in my skin, I'm going to put it in Need It because I think that Tiger's Eye is not an everyday thing for me. I think I could benefit from it most days, but I would not necessarily need it permanently grafted into my being. But it's definitely something I need, and I do use the different varieties of Tiger's Eye in my practice as well. Next is Prehnite. I'm really glad this one was included in here because I love talking about Prehnite and sharing the joys of Prehnite with other people. So this stone is known as the stone that is. So this stone is known as the stone that is healing for the healer. So what it does is it helps you to connect to empathy and compassion and your heart, but in a way that does not emotionally overwhelm. So it also shields you from being overly empathetic, right? So if you are an empath, or if you are a spiritual worker or a healer, or even sometimes if you work in certain fields, like maybe like the medical or mental health industry, you may find that you take on a lot of the darkness within the hearts of others while you're trying to help them. Prehnite helps shield you from this. And for that reason, it is extremely valuable in my life. Obviously, I am a healer, a light worker, I do a lot of shadow work with, friends and clients. So this is really good for that. It helps you to stay calm in stressful or emotionally intense situations. It is also a known as a stone that helps with facilitating precognitive skills. Sometimes it is called the prophecy stone. And that is something that plays a really large role in my life as well. It's a good stone to meditate with, and it just really helps you connect to higher knowledge. So, whether that be like inner knowledge within yourself, like a high priestess kind of energy, or connecting to divine knowledge from beyond yourself, it really helps with that. It helps promote inner peace and harmony and unconditional love. I'm I'm really torn. This at the very least is going at the very top of need it. Um, I haven't it is I haven't been working with this stone for too long. I actually only discovered it probably within this past year. I don't think there would be any harm in permanently grafting it into my skin. I think that it is something that I need to use more frequently. I think that the value that it has for me is something I've only begun to tap into, and it's something that ideally I would carry on me every single day, the same way that I carry Carnelian and some other stones on me more or less every day. So we're going to put up here for now. I might put it back down afterwards, but I'm thinking that this stone is even more precious to me than I realize it is, and I'm going to put it in my skin. And next we have a piece of clear quartz. Clear quartz is a really interesting one to put on this list because clear quartz is a very neutral stone. So it's really good for use in like witchcraft and rituals. It's also really good to use with other stones. So it's known as the stone that boosts and amplifies the powers of other crystals. Basically, you can put any energy or intent into a clear quartz crystal, and it will take that on with like the utmost power. So when using clear quartz, you do have to be really careful because even if you are subconsciously holding on to negative feelings or ill intent, while charging this crystal, it will pick that up. At least that's my understanding. Some people might argue that it clears it out, but I don't think it does because clear quartz can be used for dark magic just as much as it can be used for light magic. So you really just have to be careful of how you use this. But it can be used for anything, like anything at all. It's very programmable, very flexible, is very good for cleansing, is very good for transferring intent. The way that I do like to use this sometimes is I have a point, much like this one, that I will sometimes charge before a reading with the information that I kind of know about the reading I'm going to be doing, whether it just be like the person's name or their question or whatever, and I'll focus on that. And then I will leave it on the deck that I'm going to use to help charge my deck ahead of time with the energy of this person's reading. And I think it does an amazing job at that. It's really easy to program and cleanse and reprogram. It's good for promoting clarity and concentration and harmony. Some people say it helps with psychic abilities as well because it'll help you when you're holding it. It can help you really cleanse your mind and stay in a really clear-minded headspace that'll help you open up to seeing different images or hearing messages during a meditation, or it'll just help you like be in a nice clear-minded space to really visualize. So clear quartz is really helpful. I don't use it a lot. I definitely use it a lot more than smoky quartz. I might just put it in the love it tier for now. Because, like I said, it's good for anything. It's really flexible. But oftentimes, I'm just using more specific crystals that will give more specific benefits. So I don't use it as much as I could. If I was doing more spell work, I'd probably use it a lot more. I'd probably put it up in the needed tier. But I've been having a pretty casual relationship with witchcraft lately. So we're going to put it in the love it tier. Next up is blue lace agate. This is another one that I don't use very much. I think it's very similar to Sodalite. Blue lace agate is a very tranquil stone. It is like very, very soothing, very, very calming. Like as soon as I hold it, I feel that it is like an angelic presence. It's almost kind of like angel light in the way that just graceful, calming presence just kind of comes down upon your shoulders. Very sweet crystal. It helps with clarity and communication. It is calming. It helps promote optimism and positive thinking. It will relieve stress. So it's good for relieving anxiety and promoting emotional stability. It's another one that you use for public speaking. And it'll help you speak your truth without being afraid of judgment. So it does kind of the same thing that Sodalite does. The way I kind of see these two is they do very similar things, but Sodalite has a more masculine energy and blue lace agate has a more feminine energy. Like a Sodalite is going to be a more logic, mind-based sort of strengthening. And blue lace agate is going to help you in communication in the same way, but it's more of an emotional, soothing, comforting, reassuring energy. So they'll do the same thing for you, but it's kind of more like, more fatherly energy, more masculine energy of Sodalite, and then the more motherly, more feminine energy of blue lace agate. And I just prefer using Sodalite. I love the feeling of blue lace agate. It feels amazing to hold. But I just don't really use it that much. I put it in sometimes. Realistically, I'd almost put it in not using it because I'm not 100% sure if I even have a piece. I must have one, but I use it so rarely that I'm not sure if I even have it. So I'm going to put it in the bottom of not using it for now. The top of not using it or the bottom of sometimes. Yeah. I'd say that I don't necessarily carry this stone with me places, but there are times when I will just pull it out and just hold it in my hands and really let that calm wash over me, and then I'll just put it back. So maybe we'll consider that a sometimes tier. Now, black tourmaline. Black tourmaline is such a strong part of my practice. You will be hard pressed to find me in public without black tourmaline on my body. Black tourmaline is, for me, like really the protection stone. It helps protect against EMF, helps protect you from the negative energy of other people. It'll also protect you from, like witchcraft, ill intent, stuff like that. It has kind of that evil eye effect. And it helps cleanse negativity from your aura. So it'll also help you a little bit with that darkness you have inside of yourself, as well as protecting you from the darkness within others. I will always carry this when I am in a crowded space. If I have to take the bus or go to the mall or go to a public event or something like that, and I forget to bring my black tourmaline with me, I'm actually very distressed. I rely on this so much in my day-to-day life. It helps you stay grounded and focused a little bit just by clearing out all of that crap from your system and your aura and your environment and keeping you safe from it. I would have this permanently fused into my skin, given the opportunity. I absolutely would. No doubt about it. There's not enough black tourmaline in the world for me, similar to Carnelian. Our next crystal is blue Kyanite. I'm really happy that this one is on here because I love to discuss blue kyanite. Kyanite in general is a very, very, very powerful stone, and not one that too many people know about. So, the first thing you're going to notice if you're touching blue kyanite is that it aligns all of your chakras. So, it's good for aligning and empowering all of your chakras, but especially the throat and the third eye and the connection between the two. People use it as a stone to meditate with, a stone to open up their intuition, and it's said to really help with any sort of altered state. So, like channeling and communication with spirit and developing any of your psychic gifts. Kyanite is going to be amazing for that. It's also good for encouraging good experiences with sleep and dreams, including lucid dreaming. It is a stone of loyalty and communication. And of course, being a blue stone, it is also one that is about speaking your own truth. It encourages tranquility. It's very high energy. Like the first time I touched kyanite, I was absolutely floored by the power that I felt in that stone. It's also said to help with yin yang balance, and it never needs to be charged. Now, I can vouch for this. This is actually true. In my experience, kyanite never needs to be charged. And when I first read about that, I wasn't sure about it, but I think in this case it is true. I've had my piece of tumbled kyanite for a long time, and I've never even really thought to charge it because every single time I touch it, no matter where it goes or what it goes through, it feels just as strong as the day that I met it. The only thing about blue kyanite and kyanite in general is this form you see it in right now. It's raw form. It's a lot cheaper in raw form, but it seems very brittle and very fragile. And tumbled stones are more on the pricey side. But that's also kind of perfectly fine because the stone does not need to be charged and because it is so incredibly powerful and effective. I only need one piece of tumbled kyanite. I would say that I don't use this stone as much as I could, but I definitely need it. And just out of respect for its power and its potency, I think that it definitely deserves to be up here in this tier. Now we have red jasper. So red jasper is a root chakra stone. It is grounding and stabilizing. So it helps with strength, stability, stamina. It's also called the supreme nurturer. So it provides a lot of comfort and support. Whenever I am wearing red jasper, I do have a red jasper necklace, and I put it on, I can say that it gives me this feeling of like things are going to be okay. And not even in like a coddling kind of way, like, oh, sweetie, let's calm you down, but just in like a things are going to be okay and I've got this. And I just go about my day with that in mind. So it helps to bring courage, and it has a lot of positive effects in the area of sexuality. So fertility, confidence, empowerment, and even healing from sexual trauma can be a benefit of this stone. It will help you to face difficult tasks and to find justice where it is needed. It's also said to be good for dream recall. One thing about red jasper is, although it has kind of similar effects to some other protective stones, the way that it goes about it is different. It does it in a much more subtle way. So red jasper is going to have a more subtle effect, but it's also more of a long-term effect compared to something really strong and immediate, like a black tourmaline or a hematite, perhaps. I do have red jasper in a necklace form. I'm not sure if I have it in a tumbled stone. Usually, when I wear my red jasper necklace, it's not even something I think of. It happens often when I just am not sure what crystals I want to bring with me for the day, and my brain will just go red jasper, just put it on. And I put it on, and it always feels right, and it always feels good. And I think my day is a lot better for it. Just because I don't use it that often, I'm probably just gonna put it in the love it tier. Definitely above the clear quartz. If I don't have a tumbled stone right now, I might go and get one. But yeah. Now hematite. Oh boy. I'm not gonna go too much into the effects of this one because I kind of don't really care. Like, it's very similar to other protective stones. It helps with grounding, protection, strength, courage, self esteem. It'll help you stay calm and focused, all that good stuff. Here's the thing about hematite, we don't get along that well. And I don't even dislike hematite, but there's just something about it. Whenever I hold a piece of hematite, it feels too strong for me. Now, hematite is a form of iron. So I mentioned earlier how like the tiger's iron feels really good to me because that little bit of iron inclusion is giving me something I lack because I have some iron deficiency in my blood, right? It's almost like the hematite is too much for my body to process. If I hold it, most pieces of hematite, it kind of stings actually. It hurts a little bit for me to hold it. It's just that metallic energy is too sharp and it's too intense, and I'll kind of go and put it down. I would much prefer like smaller amounts of iron included in a stone that I'm holding on my person. That being said, I do have it in a bracelet that I wear quite often. I usually just wear it as a backup for when my other bracelets, such as like my tourmaline ones, are needing a charge. But the hematite almost never really needs to be cleansed or charged. Maybe it's because of how rarely I use it. But I'll throw on the hematite bracelet as a replacement. Here's the thing about the hematite bracelet. Um, it's round, right? And it's a very slippery material. And I've noticed that hematite bracelets tend to be a lot wider than other bracelets. I suspect this is because it is suggested towards men more often. There are not very many stones that super masculine men are going to be comfortable wearing in a bracelet, but hematite is one of them. So that's probably why they make it so much wider. However, I have really small wrists and pretty damn small hands. So the bracelets are always kind of a little too wide. And if I move my arm at a downwards trajectory with any amount of speed whatsoever, that bracelet flings itself off of my hand and slams straight into the ground. And I'm surprised that it doesn't break like every time because hematite is known to break so easily. When I used to sell stuff at the crystal shop I used to work at, we had these hematite rings and they would break so often that we would tell people before they purchased so they were aware of the fact that the ring would break. Now, the belief behind that is that these hematite rings, they will break as they've protected you from something major and something really important, and that means that it's done its job and it's finished serving you. And now you can go and buy a new hematite ring if you so desire. But here's the thing for me with that is that why would I buy a piece of jewelry that's going to break in the process of protecting me when I could buy a piece of jewelry that won't break to protect me? Like a piece of tourmaline. And I have looked for other hematite bracelets, but none of them have spoken to me, or they've all been like too sharp feeling when I put them on, or they've been too wide, or they've just been kind of ugly, or they pinch my arm hairs. Just absolutely not using hematite. Even though I do technically use it as like a backup with my one bracelet that I have, it's a bracelet that I'm actively looking to replace and I'm not satisfied with. So this one's gonna go right at the bottom of not using it tier, because not only do I not use it, but I actually kind of dislike some things about it and would prefer to not use it over any other protective stone. Some people really like the fact that it's magnetic, like you can get it in these little pieces that like magnetically click together and stuff, and I'm sure that would be fun to play with, but the magneticness of it also kind of turns me off a little, because I don't want to have to worry about like wearing it in my pocket and it gets snagged on the fridge or something like that. So, all right, now Labradorite. So Labradorite is associated with the third eye and crown chakra, really stimulating the pathway between those 2 points, and it's very useful for enhancing psychic abilities of all kinds. It's used as a meditation stone. People use it in divination. It really encourages introspection and self reflection, which leads to a lot of positive transformation. And so that can be, gaining awareness about your own psychic gifts and abilities, or this could be like personal, mental, emotional issues, whatever it is, it'll really help you tap into yourself and understand yourself. It'll bring you a deep awareness of yourself and spiritual knowledge as well. It's known to help with magical awakenings. It is a very mystical, magical stone, both in its properties and just how it looks and how it feels. We all love that beautiful sheen on a piece of labradorite. It's just mesmerizing. Can help with intuition, psychic protection, communication with guides, gives mental clarity, and helps calm an overactive mind, and it will help bring attention to things that are subconscious and hidden. Now, I will admit I don't use labradorite as much as I should. You might hear me say that about a lot of these stones that are heavily related to developing psychic gifts. In fact, I actually had a piece of labradorite gifted to me not too long ago by someone who didn't really know me per se, but was just sort of tapping in, seeing what crystals would be good for me, and labradorite is one of the ones they chose, and it was a beautiful piece. It makes me think of a river. It's quite nice. I should put it probably near the top of love it tier. I want to put in the need it tier, but considering the fact that I just hardly ever use it, I think it'll go up here instead. It's one that I really love to look at and admire, um, especially in like a good piece of jewelry, like a really nice pendant. But it's not one that I'm actually actively using that much right now. Next, we have fluorite. Now, I love fluorite. Fluorite is really good for clearing your mind, improving concentration and memory. It helps bring order and balance to your life in that way. It can dissolve confusion and anxiety about the future, which leads to stronger decision making. It offers psychic protection, helps with migraines. It will help clear out negative energy and facilitate just a better, healthier flow of energy throughout your body and environment. And it can also be used as a truth seeking stone. What I really love about fluorite is how every piece is so unique and just how much variety there is in the colors of fluorite. Especially the way that There's usually multiple colors in each piece that you have. So for each color in a piece of fluorite, it will work extra well in healing that particular chakra. It's just beautiful to hold up to the light. Kids really like it as well. They find it really nice to look at, and it's often something I would suggest to parents of children shopping for their children who are having issues concentrating in school. It is healing on all different levels, especially the more multicolor piece you can get, the better. I'm kind of between the top two tiers here. Although it would be good to have permanently fuse into my skin, it's not a crystal that I think about and think, oh God, I wish this energy was with me all the time. You know, I could always benefit from it, but I don't feel that need to just like stuff it inside of my body and keep it there forever. So we're gonna put it kind of near the top of needed tier. Now I'm not entirely sure what this crystal here is, but to me it looks the most like a piece of raw green calcite. So we're going to call this one green calcite. So this is another heart chakra stone. It will help you be emotionally balanced. It helps you be more open minded and release some of your old beliefs. It will remove stagnant energy and help clear out blockages, especially ones in the heart chakra that block you from the love of other people. So, fear and emotional trauma based blockages. It's mood stabilizing, it's a very relaxing stone. It helps relieve daily stresses. And it helps to bring forward new beginnings. So, releasing those old beliefs and making room for the new. It will help you have motivation, self belief, and the energy that you need in order to make changes. It's also associated with growth, and it will help attract prosperity, especially in like opening up a new business. So this is a really good, well-rounded stone. However, I just don't use calcite anymore. I believe that when I first got into stones way back in the day, I started with different forms of calcite. I probably learned about those first, but I just don't really have a lot of calcite. The ones that I do have, I like never pick them to put in my stone pouches. Never really use them for craft or anything like that. I don't think they're bad stones at all. It's just not something I'm really vibing with, but yeah. I mean, it can kind of go anywhere in this tier. It just doesn't really matter. I'll put it, I guess, at the top because at least there was a point in time in my life when I used to use it. Citrine. Citrine goes by many nicknames. Some might call it the Stone of Happiness or the Merchant Stone. To me, it is like the manifestation stone. It's a very good stone for attracting money. It's super programmable. It's really good for usage in witchcraft because you can use it in quite a few different ways that are going to be really helpful. So it is a stone of abundance, prosperity, wealth, luck, and success. So it's another one that is well loved for encouraging successful businesses. It helps to bring confidence and self esteem. It brings happiness, positivity, joy, just a lot of really strong, uplifting energy. I wouldn't say it's quite as I wouldn't say it's quite as strong as the feeling of Carnelian in terms of bringing forth that vibrant joy into your energy, but it's pretty close. Like it does a really good job of that. It's a really uplifting stone. It will help you overcome obstacles. It will help you to both envision and pursue your goals. So It can help with like being used in passive manifestation. You can charge it with your intent. But it also helps encourage like the active process of actually getting out there and doing things. It's not just a passive manifestation kind of stone. And it's also a really strong solar plexus one. So energetically, it has some similarities in how it feels to like Carnelian, but this one is more of a solar plexus stone, while Carnelian is more sacral. So this one is awesome. I definitely need it in my life. I've developed a closer relationship with citrine for sure in like the past couple of years. Um, really strong, really, really awesome stone. And I'll probably at the very end go through and touch up the exact position of these within their rank. Because it's getting to the point where it's a little bit difficult to compare some of these stones to each other. Okay, selenite. Selenite's a really strong crown and third eye chakra stone. It's really good to use in like energy healing, like Reiki. I have a selenite wand that I use for that, and it's really amazing. It feels really good in my hand. However, selenite is not really a stone that you carry per se. It's quite fragile. You might be able to tell from this picture here, it has kind of that similar, like brittle kind of texture to raw kyanite that makes it prone to being chipped or broken. And it's also not safe to put underwater. So, water can damage it as well. So, I don't necessarily carry this in stone pouches. I just wouldn't want it to break. But it is really good to have in like larger decorative pieces in your house to really help purify that space. So selenite is a really, really, really strong purifying crystal. It is named after the Greek moon goddess Selene, so it can help connect you to the energy of the moon. People also use it to help connect with angels or just any of your guides or higher beings in general. Selenite's great for that. It can help cleanse your space, your aura, your environment. It is believed to be self charging and also something you can use to charge other crystals. I have not tried that personally, um, but it sounds fun to experiment with. I might get myself a nice flat piece of selenite to put under my crystals at some point. It helps shield from negativity. And it just brings this really like serene, gentle, calming energy to the space that it's in. Like I said, it's really good to just kind of have around the house to foster that feeling of peace and serenity and calmness. It's also good for intuition and mental clarity. Not sure where to put this one. Maybe in the love it tier, because I don't carry this one or wear it the way I do with other stones, but just having some nice pieces in my house I'm technically using it, even though it's more of a passive way of using it. And I do really value this stone, so we're going to put it in the love it tier here. And maybe just for consistency, I might change sometimes to like it, because yeah, I like it. I like these stones. But I don't love them so much so that I kind of use them regularly. And I might move clear quartz down to the top of the like it tier as well. All right. Obsidian. So this is one of those stones that's a little bit controversial, slightly controversial. Nothing like malachite, not quite that strong. So obsidian is a root chakra stone, is really protective, especially in like a psychic way, protecting from psychic attacks, stuff like that. So obsidian helps with your problems, but the way that it does it is a very shadow work kind of way. What obsidian does is it draws out the negativity. It's kind of like this detoxification process where it draws out the negativity and makes you aware of it. So that way you have the power to change it. So you have to be careful with when and how you use obsidian because it does not always feel good to use, okay? Like, there are days when I have carried obsidian on my person and I have just felt bad for a lot of the day because it makes you aware of your flaws and your weaknesses. Like, it makes you aware of the ways in which you are responsible for your own problems, and maybe it makes you aware of some of your wrongdoings. And that doesn't always feel good. It's, usually quite humbling to feel that way. The other thing about obsidian is that it really absorbs negative energy. So you have to make sure that you're regularly cleansing it because it deals with negative energy by like absorbing it into itself and then trying to cleanse it that way. And there are times, in fact, where the negative energy is too much for the obsidian to be able to self cleanse it. Don't believe anyone who tells you obsidian is self cleansing. I feel like that's almost kind of a dangerous thing to say to people because I've had like a really bad experience with obsidian that had attracted and trapped too much negative energy within itself to the point where I actually wouldn't touch obsidian for probably like maybe like 4 to 6 weeks afterwards. Like I could not touch obsidian. I've gotten over it now. I've gotten better with it. I don't associate the feeling of obsidian with that one piece anymore. But it just goes to show you have to be really careful with obsidian. If you're going to carry it on you all day, you're going to want to make sure that you balance that out with stones that are going to be more positive and uplifting. And maybe don't pair it with something like malachite unless you absolutely want to be punched in the face and curb stomped by by life's lessons for that day, right? There is like some forms of obsidian that are a bit gentler and more subtle about it, like snowflake obsidian. I personally prefer to use snowflake obsidian over just the regular basic obsidian, but this is just regular basic obsidian depicted right here. So it's good stone for introspection. It brings out the truth. I would say that it is a brutally honest truth stone, and it will help to foster transformation within yourself in that way. So beautiful, like if you're a shadow work person and you're looking for something that can give you like some psychic protection and stuff like that, this will be perfect for you. But I don't use obsidian very much. When I do use it, like it's definitely like doing its job and it's what I want in the moment. But I'm probably gonna put it maybe in the bottom of like it tier because I would just rather at this point in my life use something different than obsidian. Rose quartz. I think everyone loves rose quartz. I can't think of a single person in this world who doesn't love rose quartz because rose quartz is love. It is love in a rock. It is wonderful. Rose quartz really is the love stone, the heart chakra stone. I'm sure you're probably aware of what it does, but it really helps with self love and attracting healthy relationships and love in all forms. People who are looking for romance will carry this, but also if you're looking for like good friends, helps open up your heart, helps with forgiveness, healing from past traumas, and it really connects you to that energy of the universal love of the universe. Can help you learn how to trust again after heartbreak and to recover from that. It helps with increasing self-worth, which also helps in turn with jealousy, which is really good for relationships. It's a very feminine, an extremely feminine stone. It really helps with empathy and compassion and inner peace and just opening up that heart chakra. I need this one in my skin. The only thing I question about this placement is whether I need it in my skin more than Carnelian or the same amount. These two stones are where I got this idea from of needing it inside my skin, because that's the only way I can truly describe to people how much these two stones in particular have helped me throughout my life, and how important it is for me to have a nice, strong supply of carnelian and rose quartz. These two are like my god tier crystals, okay? They're doing all of the work in my life. They really are. All right, Lapis Lazuli. This one has a lot in common with our other blue stones that we've gone over. So it's a really good third eye to throat chakra stone, opening up the pathway between those two areas. Really helps with enhancing your psychic abilities and intuition. It's a truth stone, helps with communication, self expression. So, of course, more speaking your truth. As always, when we find a blue crystal, we're always looking at speaking your truth. It's also said to help with past life recollection, which is pretty cool. It's a really strong wisdom stone as well, so channeling wisdom from within yourself and also channeling wisdom from higher sources. And it's a really good self-awareness stone as well, which kind of taps in with that looking into past lives kind of thing. So lapis is really good. It's a really nice stone. I really love the piece that I have. I love the gold inclusions. Much like Labradorite, I love to just like look at it. But I'm actually not using it like that much. I probably use it more often than I use like a Labradorite. Um I use Sodalite probably more than both of those as well. So we're gonna put it in our love it tier. And last but not least, amethyst. So amethyst is a really popular stone, and it has a lot of good usages. Its name actually comes from a phrase meaning not being drunk. So it helps with addiction and encouraging sobriety. Is a really strong third eye and crown chakra stone, so is really good at encouraging spirituality and wisdom that comes channeled in through our crown and third eye. It's associated with sleep and dreams, so it can help with insomnia and nightmares, stuff like that. Is also a really good stone for dealing with grief and letting go of the past, letting go of past hurts, letting go of, people from the past who we, don't want to let go of. It's a very peaceful, calming crystal. It'll help clear your thoughts so you're not super confused or anxious, which leads to good decision makings, much like fluorite does. It can also help with migraines. It's a very spiritual crystal, so it's really good for meditating with and enhancing your intuition and spiritual growth. And it clears and protects your aura. I don't really use amethyst. You might have noticed this amethyst is one of the 4 corner pieces that I currently have in my tarot setup, so I do use it in that way. And it's really good for that. But I don't think I even have. Oh, I might have a tumbled amethyst. There was one that a little kid gifted me that was a purple stone that I can't quite identify. That might be a piece of amethyst. Anything actually that I have in a small form that might be amethyst, I got by accident. I also have an amethyst point that I got by accident because it broke off of a pendant at the crystal shop I worked at, and the owner let me keep it. And then I have that big, like, geode piece that I definitely bought on purpose. But amethyst has never been, like, a high priority for me. Maybe it's just because I don't feel like I need a crystal to boost my spirituality, and I'm not a particularly anxious person. I tend to think of amethyst as something that more anxious people are drawn to, people who are more anxious or have a harder time being as connected as they want to be to their sense of spirituality, to their crown and third eye. It just doesn't really ever speak to me as something that I need. I much prefer using purple fluorite over amethyst for kind of the same sort of effect. That being said, the people in my life who I associate with amethyst have been really loving and important figures in my life. So I do have really warm, positive associations with amethyst. Um, Something about people who are really drawn to amethyst are also people who I'm really drawn to. But I'm not particularly drawn to the crystal itself. So it's kind of interesting. Shout out to people who are drawn to amethyst or have it as their favorite crystal. But I'm between like it and not using it. I think that for the same reason that I wouldn't put Smoky Quartz in not using it because I use it as a cornerstone on my tarot cloth, I'm going to not have it in the not using it tier, but we're going to put it in the I like it tier. Okay. So I'm going to see if there's any final adjustments I want to make to the order of this. Alright, so I made a couple of small adjustments. I think it's only fair that Hematite not be at the very bottom of not using it because I do in fact use it, whereas Kambaba Jasper, I have literally never used it, so that should be at the bottom of the list. And, Unakite and green calcite, I probably use in this 1, 2, 3 order. It's probably about how often I use those. So thank you guys so much for, watching this video and listening to me yap about crystals. Let me know in the comments what crystals you would have permanently infused into your skin if you could do such a thing. And also let me know what crystals you are not particularly drawn to and don't find yourself using or being called to, even if they may be popular with other people. If you like this style of video, make sure to let me know that this was entertaining by leaving a like, maybe hitting subscribe if you want, or a comment. The more support that my video gets, the more that I am encouraged to do the same kind of video again. This was really fun for me. It was a nice change of pace. I would like to do potentially more tier list videos in the future. If there's a lot of interest in getting a part 2 to this video, I might just make my own part 2 crystal list, since there's not really that many out there on this website to begin with. If you guys have any suggestions for any other kind of tier list you'd like to see me do in the future, let me know. Maybe I might do one on like the major arcana or different versions of like tarot cards. If I think there's enough that I could make a tier list video on that might be interesting. If you like my content, you can always find more here on my YouTube channel. I also have a TikTok at Aetheric Sage and my website, aethericsage.com, where you can book professional readings online. Thank you all again for watching and spending this time with me, and I hope I'll see you in my next video.